Hi everyone, my name is Abhi, a registered migration agent from Aussizz Group, Dandenong branch. Today we have a session for Ask Aussizz, where our viewers can ask questions, and we'll try our best to answer all the questions in today's event. Also, I'd like to inform everyone that Aussizz is coming with an upcoming event, Aussizz Migration and Education Conclave 2024. It is an online virtual event happening from 24th of June till 28th of June, which will be attended by more than 60 plus registered migration agents and 80 plus education consultants, where we'll be discussing about various migration and education topics. So yes, don't forget to register for Aussizz Conclave if you haven't done already. We'll post the link as well so you can register it. As we are aware that department has come up with new migration changes that were announced recently in relation to the student visa applications. So what the department has informed is that you can't apply for a student visa after holding a 485 temporary graduate visa, and moreover you can't convert your visitor visa if you're onshore on a visitor visa and then you want to convert to further student visa. That will not be possible after the 1st of July. Also, the department has provided key updates related to employer sponsorship program. So the major update that is going to be implemented from November 2024 is that for employer sponsors of class 482 temporary skill shortage visa, the applicants wouldn't be required to fulfill 2 years of full-time experience. Instead, they can apply for 482 temporary skill shortage visa with 1 year of full-time experience. Please make sure that this changes is going to be implemented from November 2024. So prior to November 2024, you still need to meet minimum 2 years of full-time experience requirement for the employer sponsorship visa. Now, in relation to the ending visa hopping, the department has informed that from 1st of July, you wouldn't be able to apply for a student visa if you're a temporary graduate 485 visa holders. Now, what this means is if you're on a 485 visa and your visa is about to expire soon within this year, then after 1st of July, you can't lodge a student visa. However, you may be eligible for other visas such as 407 training visa, 482 employee visa, or 186 employee nomination scheme visa. Additionally, apart from this visa, you can also try for general skilled migration visa, which is subclass 189, 190, and 491. Also, the department has conducted an invitation round for subclass 189 yesterday, which happened yesterday, which is a very good news. And department has invited a lot of applicants from the construction industry. For example, top occupations that were selected at minimum 65 points for most of the trade occupations in the construction industry, such as carpenter, motor mechanic, carpenter, civil engineer draft persons were invited at 85 points, and floor tiler, painter, roof tiler, all these occupations related to the construction industries were invited at just 65 points. So yeah, it was very good news from the Department of Home Affairs to conduct a 189 invitation round. Also, apart from construction industry, the other occupations that were selected were software engineer. We got a couple of invitations. Analyst programmer has received invitation. Even in the accounting sector, um, in the accounting sector, the occupation that was selected was external auditor. So department has picked up applications for accounting sector as well at 90 plus points. So we got a question from Chris Thakkar. Any chance for telecommunications? So for telecommunications engineer and related occupations, telecommunication engineer or telecommunication network planner, unfortunately, we haven't had received invitation for subclass 189. However, for telecommunication engineer, you still can apply for your expression of interest, as the department might conduct another round after the 1st of July in the new financial year. So yeah, I would recommend, Chris, you lodge your expression of interest for 189 and also try to increase as many points as you can in the general skill migration point system. So after 1st of July, if the department conducts a round, then make sure you have a valid EOI application lodged. We have a next question from Jeet Kumar. Please share the update for Tasmania 491 visa. Yes, Jeet Kumar, so at the moment, Tasmania state has closed their applications for this financial year. However, they will be reopening soon, hopefully by August this year. They will reopen the portal and where you can lodge your registration of interest to the Tasmanian government for the 491 visa applications. So make sure you got all your documents, expression of interest, skills assessment, PTE, everything is valid, so that as soon as the state opens their registration of interest applications, we can straight away lodge it, which we believe would be somewhere around August this year. We've got one more question for Hima. How about chance for Cook 65 point at Tasmania? So for Cook, since it is in the short-term list, you can only try 190 and 491 from Tasmania. The chances are good at even at 65 points because Tasmania doesn't look primarily at your points. However, they have a different set of eligibility criteria, like how long have you been working in Tasmania, how long are you staying in Tasmania, and how long have you been working in a skilled occupation in Tasmania. So they will publish the requirements for the new financial year after the 1st of July. And as per the new guidelines, if you meet their eligibility criteria for either subclass 190 skilled nominated visa or subclass 491 skilled regional nominated visa, then yes, you should definitely be ready with all your documents and make sure that your PT and skills assessment are valid and they are not expiring anytime soon. If they are expiring, then please make sure you do it before applying, get it renewed before applying for your registration of interest. So 65 points Cook, it's good chances. If you've been working at the required level of Cook for more than 6 months in Tasmania, I think you should definitely get an invite either for 190 or 491. Because Tasmania does not majorly prioritize based on the points. However, they prioritize based on your skills and qualifications and your commitment to the state of Tasmania. So if you've been living for a considerable amount of time in Tasmania, working in your nominated occupation in Tasmania, then yes, even at 65 points, you can still receive the invitation from the state of Tasmania. Yeah, we got a question from Dilini. 80 points in Victoria as a chef for 491 visa. What are the chances? Now, Dilini, for chef at 80 points, it's very good profile for the state of Victoria because as we saw that in this financial year, Victoria had kept the occupation related to hospitality industries such as chefs, cooks, and restaurant managers in the priority list. So hopefully they continue to do so in the next financial year. Then 80 points for chef is very good profile for the state of Victoria to receive the 491 invitation. Now, when you say 80 points, if you have 80 points on your own, that's a very good profile. However, if you have 80 points, including the 15 states provided by the state of Victoria, then I would do recommend you to increase your points a little bit if you can, because then you're just sitting at bare minimum 65 points. Also, with what we're seeing with Victoria is they do give priority for the 491 visa under the occupation of chef if you're already working and living in the regional Victoria, and your work should be directly related to the occupation of chef or cook, then you have a very good profile for the 491 Victoria under the occupation of chef, which will again be, we assume it will be reopening somewhere around August or end of August or early September this year. So yeah, make sure all your documents and skills assessment, PT, everything are valid. Once the registration of interest opens from Victoria, we can straight away launch the application. For Chris Tucker, so you suggested I more. You suggested I need to increase my score. I'm trying hard to get advanced, but unfortunately, I'm unable. Any chance 491, 485, 190, 75? I and my partner are skilled. I'm in Queensland. So for Queensland, as we saw this year, that the majority of invitations that were issued were for people who had superior English score. So if you don't have a superior English score, meaning 8 bands with you, then I would recommend you simultaneously try for 491 visa surplus, because with 491 you do have 85 points and a skilled partner. So it will be a very good profile for 491. However, make sure you also keep trying for 8 each, and if you get 8 each, then we can also make an application for 190 in Queensland. However, the rules might be a bit different than it was this year, so which we will find out once the rules are published after the 1st of July by all the states, which can take around 4 to 6 weeks to get published. We have a question from Zara. I'm a marketing specialist with 2 years experience in Victoria, 95 points. What is my PR pathway? Am I eligible for 186? So if you have 95 points on your own, Zara, as a marketing specialist, which means for 190 Victoria, you will have 100 points. So because you'll get 5 points from the state of Victoria. It's a very good profile for surplus 190 Victoria. However, marketing specialist is under the short-term skilled occupation list, so you will not be eligible for surplus 186, because the current requirement is you must have an occupation which is under the medium to long-term skilled occupation list. So since marketing specialist is in the short-term list, you can't directly qualify for 186 direct entry. However, you have an option for 482 if your employer is happy to sponsor you. Your employer can sponsor you for a 2-year 482 visa. And after the 2 years, your employer can again sponsor you for 186 in the TRT stream. But at the moment, marketing specialist is not eligible for a surplus 186 direct entry because it's in the short-term occupation list. So yes, Zara, you should definitely keep an eye for the updates from the state of Victoria, because you have a very good profile for 190 Victoria once the RY applications have been started by the state of Victoria. For your question from Jeet Kumar, can we work in other occupation, or we need to work in the same occupation if we want to apply for 491? So 491, it depends state by state, but since you want to understand the eligibility for the state of Tasmania, Tasmania do give priority if you're working in your same occupation. However, if you're not working in the same occupation, then you still may be eligible. If you're working in the skilled occupation as per the skill ENSCO criteria of skill level 1 to 3, you can still make an application. However, the state of Tasmania has not confirmed their eligibility criteria for the new financial year, which will be published soon after the 1st of July. So yeah, you can work in other occupation. That's not an issue, but yeah, just wait for the updates for the new financial year, and then we can probably give you a better understanding about what job you should be looking for. We've got one more question from Queensland. 190 Queensland lodged in June 2023 as a mechanical engineer, added spouse details after marriage in February 2024 by mentioning a change in circumstances. Haven't got the visa yet. When can it be granted? So when you lodge Queensland 190, I'm not sure if you lodged an expression of interest or you lodged the visa. Because if you lodged visa as a single applicant, then you basically can't add your spouse till your visa is granted, and you can't get married while the visa is being processed simply because you have claimed 10 points for single applicant. But if you not lodge the visa and you just lodge an expression of interest, then you should just need to wait for the state to pick your EOI, and then you can lodge your visa. So yeah, if you have lodged your visa, then your visa could be rejected if you claim 10 points for single and then you got married before the visa got granted. So yeah, please make sure you double check that, because I think it's a big concern for you if you're already invited and you claim 10 points in your application. Then as per the migration regulations, you can't get married till your application is granted or finalized. We've got one more question from Sonal Arora. We are planning to move to Tasmania. We have 70 points for 491 in computer network systems engineering. What will be the possibility if get invited with these points? So if you have 70 points for 491, Tasmania is of course a good state. I would do recommend though to still find a job in Tasmania that is directly related to your occupation, which is computer network and systems engineering. If for some reason you are not able to get a job in your nominal occupation, then at least try to get a job in the skill level 1 to 3. Then what you can do is at least try for 491 from Tasmania based on your skilled occupation. And you have 70 points. I would do recommend to increase the points because a lot of applicants are planning to move to the state of Tasmania. So next year, Tasmania will see a bit of a higher cutoff this year compared to this year, because a lot of applicants will be moving to Tasmania this year. One more question from Samir. 189 with 80 points for chemist from week. Good chance or not? So Samir, yes, chances are good for 189 with 80 points. However, it depends if the department selects your occupation when they conduct a 189 round. So as we have seen in the recent round, that a carpenter got selected at 65 points. However, there were other occupations where people had more than 85 points, 90 points, 95 points. However, they were not invited because the department simply did not select that occupation to be invited. So if departments start giving the invitation for the chemist occupation, then you have a good profile. So keep trying to increase the points, because you never know, with Australia, the cutoff can go as high as 95 points to 100 points as well. But yes, your profile with 80 points under the occupation of chemist is a very good profile. We have one more question from Ishan. I have 70 points for analyst programmer from Western Australia. I currently applied only for 190 and 189. Do you advise to include 491? So Ishan, yes, I would do definitely recommend you to include the subclass 491 in your application as well, because that's 70 points. There is a chance for analyst programmer. However, the state of Western Australia has two separate categories when it comes to the state nomination program. They do give better and more priority to graduates of Western Australia. So if you have done your 2 years of full-time study in Western Australia, then basically you can be considered under the graduate stream from Western Australia. Then it's very good chances to get your application selected at 75 to 80 points. And for people who are non-graduates of Western Australia, has to have very high points, more than 85 or 90 points. So your 70 points are good for graduate stream, but it's not very good. So I would do recommend you include your 491. Yes, you mentioned that you studied in Western Australia. Then if you can increase your points a little bit to 80 points, you have a very good profile because you are a Western Australia graduate. Then your application can be selected. I would recommend you try to go at least 75 to 80 points. So your application can get selected. But yeah, in the meantime, do include subclass 491 as well, because 491 is for 491 you will have 15 more points from the state. So you will have a better chance of application selected. And more importantly, if your visa is expiring in the next 5 to 6 months, then currently the department has informed that people on 485 graduate visa holders won't be able to lodge a student visa application from the 1st of July. So it's better to secure an option for 491 rather than waiting for 189 or 190. So yes, please do include 491 because you have a good profile and your occupation is also in the long-term list. So you can get selected for 491 as well. And yes, to all our viewers who missed this information before, I would like to remind you that Aussizz group is coming up with a event which is called the Aussizz Migration and Education Conclave 2024, which will be from 24th of June to 28th of June, where we will be discussing a lot of topics related to migration, a lot of recent changes that have been announced by the Department of Home Affairs will be reviewed by more than 60 plus registered migration agents. So if you haven't registered it for yet, make sure you do register for it. Yes, from Ishan, we have maybe a share bit about future for employer sponsorship. Okay, so for employer sponsorship visa program, the department is mainly looking to ease off the requirements, which is a very good news if you're working in your nominated occupation. So what I would recommend is if you are working in your nominated occupation and you have an employer who is ready to sponsor you, then definitely do have a chat with your manager or your employer and seek out that option because the employer sponsor is a very good option and you don't need to meet any point system. You just have to make sure that your employer is happy to sponsor you, and if your employer meets all the eligibility criteria and you meet all the eligibility criteria and they are happy to offer you the salary of 73,150 plus super from the 1st of July, then you should definitely go for the employer sponsorship visa. We have one more question from Rehan about advanced diploma of civil construction and design. So advanced diploma in civil construction design, if you completed this course, then you can get your skills assessment done with Engineers Australia. If your course is directly accredited under the Australian qualification stream, and you can get your skills assessment done under the occupation of civil engineer draft person. Again, this occupation is in the medium to long term list, so you can have multiple visa options for you. You can apply general skilled migration visa 189, 190, and plus 491. Simultaneously, you can also be eligible for 186 visa if you have 3 years of full time experience in your nominated occupation. The question from Darshak, I am on 408 visa right now. Will I be able to lodge student visa after 30 June or I need to lodge before that? So at the moment, what the department has confirmed is people won't be able to lodge for a student visa after the 1st of July. So they have provided a list of visa subclass holders. In that, 485 visa holder is the main one where if you're on a 485 visa holder, then you can't apply for a student visa. However, the department has not given any update for the 408 and they have not included the 408 visa holder in that particular list. So as per the current rule, you can still apply for the student visa if you're on a 408 visa after the 1st of July. We've got one more question from Mail. I'm an offshore pharmacist. I have 3 years experience. I have payslip, bank statement, offer letter, reference letter, but don't have income tax return as it is below income threshold. Okay. So if you are working in the occupation of pharmacist and if you have 3 years of experience, you can still be able to claim the points as long as you have the pay slips and bank statement to prove to the department that your pay was being deposited in the bank and your employer is happy to give you the offer letter and reference letter, then you can submit those documents to the Department of Home Affairs. It is not mandatory to have an income tax return. And as you mentioned that your income was below the income threshold, then you don't need to file any income tax. However, what I would recommend in your case is you do get a letter from your accountant from your home country mentioning about your experience and mentioning that your salary was below the minimum threshold, and that's why you have not filed for any income tax. However, as per my understanding, um, if you have an income which is less than this threshold, you can still file for the income tax return for nil income tax return. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you discuss that with your accountant and file for the income tax, even if it's below the threshold, and get a letter, supporting letter from your accountant, so that you can submit that as well to the Department of Home Affairs. We've got one question from Jigar. Welder Victoria 18970 points. What should be the chances? So at the moment, the chances are not very good for welder because the department has given priority to construction sector. However, in the future, after the 1st of July, if the department start giving invitation to the trade occupations, which are, for example, like welder or motor mechanic or metal fabricator, then at 75 points, you can definitely receive an invitation. As we have seen for carpenters and painters yesterday, that they had bare minimum 65 points. However, they still have received the invitation for surplus 189 because that's what the department feels that the construction industry is going through rough time at the moment, and there is a housing shortage at the moment all over Australia. That's why they have prioritized the occupations of carpenter and painter and all the occupations, trade occupations especially, which are in the construction industry. So yes, after the 1st of July, if they conduct another invitation round and they start giving invitations to welder, then of course welder can get invitations at 189, even at just 65 points as well. But again, the 189 seats, as we are seeing in the federal budget, that the seats for the surplus 189 visa have been drastically reduced. So the cutoff can get high. So I would do recommend you to increase your point as much as you can, rather than waiting for the invitation to happen. Just try to increase your points. So in the future, if the invitation round happens, then you have enough points, even if the cutoff goes high, because the seats have been drastically reduced by the department for surplus 189. We got one more question from Pooja. My 485 is expiring on 30th of June. Can I apply subsequent visa? So yes, Pooja, as I already informed before, that you can apply for further subsequent visas before the 1st of July. So if you are planning to apply for student visa, make sure you need to apply as soon as possible, because student visa is something where you can't make an application directly. First, you have to get an offer letter with an Australian Education Institute or Australian university. And once you have the offer letter or the confirmation of enrollment, then with that only you can apply for further student visa. And if you want to apply for a subsequent visa, meaning if you have a partner on a certain visa and you want to jump on as a dependent, then that's fine. You can apply that. But since your visa is expiring on 30th of June, which is just 15 to 16 days from now, I would do recommend you to apply as soon as possible and don't leave it up to the last minute, because sometimes what we see is in the account where we lodge the valid visa application goes into maintenance during weekends. So don't leave it up to the last moment and lodge it as soon as possible, just because your visa is expiring in the next couple of weeks. So don't take that any risk. Will Victoria have another invitation round? Now, Pooja, it is very less likely that the department will conduct another invitation round, because it's the end of financial year and it's only 2 weeks left till the financial year ends. Number one. Number two, the state of Victoria has utilized majority of their quota for this financial year already, and hence it is very less likely that the Victorian government will conduct an invitation round in the next couple of weeks. Most likely, they will start the invitations round after the 1st of July, once they have received the seats allocation from the federal government, which we expect would be somewhere around August. After that, they will start accepting new registrations of interest in the new financial year. And yeah, you can try your luck there with the new registration of interest applications open. what changes are coming up in migration in December. So as I already informed that from November 2024, the department is looking to ease off the criteria for the employer sponsor visa, subclass 482. So if you're planning to apply for 482 visa after November 2024, you need to meet only 12 months of full-time experience. You don't need to show 2 years of full-time experience in your nominated occupation, number one. Number two, the department has also indicated previously that they are planning to change the point system, so which could be coming up in the end of this year, around December or early next year. So we will be seeing a major update in the employer sponsor visa category and in the general skill migration visa category in the subclass 189, 190, and 491. So yeah, just wait for it, and we'll get a lot of updates by the end of this year. Thank you, Pooja. Yes, guys. So we'll be winding up the today's Ask Aussies. It was great to see a lot of engagement from all of our viewers. And before we go, just to remind you that please register for the Australian Migration and Education Conclave 2024 if you haven't done already. We will be discussing a lot of changes about the recent updates that has been implemented by the Department of Affairs. So please do register for it. Thank you.